appreciate what a division chief involves in the PD's office and how you see that as creating some transferable skills to county court.
Well, so it includes kind of a lot of tasks. Some of it's just purely administrative, so you're approving costs, approving conflicts, approving timesheets, so a lot of it's kind of administrative stuff. I have to answer a lot of questions throughout the day. My attorneys, come to me a lot for advice about things. I also, as division chief, deal with any complaints that come in. So sometimes it's just de-escalation, which is usually what it is. So I'm talking to any clients of any of our other attorneys. And so it's just kind of general supervision. I think also, as a good leader, as a good division chief, I try to obviously keep up everybody's morale, let everybody know when they're doing a great job, and really kind of just try to be a leader. I think being a leader involves also filling in if somebody's sick, sitting second chair with somebody, helping out, going to county court and helping out in pretrials, things like that. So a lot of it is just kind of behind the scenes administrative stuff. Other stuff, otherwise it's kind of acting as a leader for the office.
And this is so why now? Why now for this position? It's the first procedure.
Well, so I did actually interview back in February for the open circuit court position, and so while it appears from my application that I practice almost exclusively in circuit court, the reality is that in doing juvenile delinquency, which is what I handle for 11 of the last 14 and a half years, I handle both felonies and misdemeanors. And so, although we have a lot of additional rules that go along with representing juveniles, your rules of evidence, your rules of criminal procedure, and your elements of charges are all going to be the same as they are in adult court. So I handle both felonies and misdemeanors. I also, for the first 5 years that I was in DeLand, I acted as a mentor to our county court attorneys. So that included obviously sitting second chair in trials, giving them advice about cases, helping out in pre-trials. And so I spent a lot of time in county court with them. And then obviously being division chief, I'm the supervising attorney for both our circuit court attorneys and our county court attorneys. So I really have always kind of had one hand in circuit court and one hand in county court, kind of based off of the types of cases that I handle and the other positions that I've had within my agency.
So having applied for a circuit and now having applied for a county, what are the aspirations? Some of our county judges have been institutions, and certain others that move very quickly.
Well, I think I certainly would like to be a county court judge. I think my skill set in that, in how the cases I handle, which is dealing with your general public every day, trying to explain things in a way that they can understand. Obviously in county court you're dealing with a lot of pro se litigants, and so it's one thing to understand the law, but it's another thing to be able to explain the law to someone who's not an attorney. And representing children, that's what I do all day, to a level, they have to understand what's happening, so you have to be able to explain that. And so when you're dealing with a lot of pro se litigants, I think on a county level, a lot of times, not so much on the criminal docket, but on the civil docket, a lot of times it's you and two pro se litigants that are kind of looking at you like, okay, what do we do now? And so obviously you can't give them legal advice, but you do have to control the courtroom, and you have to help them to understand what's going on. And so I do think that my skills and my career would apply to a county court spot. Like I said, I have practiced also extensively in circuit court. So I'm not going to say that I would never have any desire to go into circuit court because juvenile delinquency is obviously a passion of mine, considering I've done it for so many years. But for the foreseeable future, and for now and foreseeable future, I do see myself in
talk to me about your civil experience? How you handle that?
Sure. So I don't have a lot of civil experience. I worked in private practice with Anne Marie Janusa for a short amount of time prior to coming to the public defender's office. But that was a question that I was kind of asked in our last interview, which was, if you were to make the short list or if you were to be appointed, what would you do to prepare yourself for an area of law that you don't really practice a lot of? At the time we're talking about family law. And so immediately coming out of our interviews in February, knowing that Judge Schuman and Judge Campbell were likely going to be retiring sometime this summer, and knowing that my criminal experience kind of speaks for itself, I reached out to Judge Dempsey and Judge Myers, who are our DeLand civil county judges, and asked them if I could spend some time in their courtroom and observe. Because my answer to your question last time was, I would get a mentor, I would shadow them, and I would observe, because that's really the best way I learn is by watching. And so, of course, they were incredibly accommodating and kind. And so within, I think, 2 weeks after our interview last time, I started going into their courtroom. Obviously, I have a huge advantage because my office is in the courthouse. So I would try to find, whether it was 15 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever in my day, to go down to their hearing rooms or the courtrooms, or even sign on to Zoom and observe and watch these civil proceedings. Judge Myers specifically spent a lot of time with me. Prior to a hearing, she would say, okay, this is this type of hearing, these are the rules that apply. I learned a lot about kind of all the little micro divisions within our civil county dockets. So I observed everything from evidentiary hearings to small claims pretrials to case management. I even watched a eviction jury trial, which might be pretty rare in civil county court.
I would guess so.
Yeah, so so I took what I said to heart, and I wanted to use my time as proactively as possible. And so the only thing I can really do to prepare myself is to sit in these court proceedings, and I think it helped me a lot. I learned obviously a lot about civil court, and if nothing else, I just try to use my time as productively as possible.
Anything else that you would like to ask? Anything else you would like to add?
I just, one of the reasons that I did kind of take the steps to shadow our civil judges was for my own benefit. Obviously, if I were to be appointed, I think realistically, because of my long history in the public defender's office in my current position, there's a good chance I wouldn't go directly onto a criminal bench. If I did, great, but I would want to be prepared for that. So I did it for personal reasons to prepare myself, but I also did it really kind of to show you all how serious I am about my application. It's not something that I'm kind of just throwing my hat in. It is something that I am taking seriously. And when we do have these kind of hypothetical discussions in our interview, whether it be running a campaign or preparing for an area of law I don't practice, that when I say that I'm going to prepare myself or I'm going to do certain things to get to that point, that I mean it, and I'll take the steps to get there. Thank you all.